So hi, everybody. I'm Darcy Wadle, and with Electude, I'm the Northern California representative, and I also am the U.S. Sales manager.
Great. Claire, did you unmute yourself?
Yep.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Clara Bowser, and I am the Business Development Manager for Southern California. And I worked with Larry for the Riverside Community College District.
Great. Clara, thank you. And David McNulty?
Is David online with us? I'm not sure if he's.
Yeah, I don't think Dave is joining this one since it's not Canvas.
Okay. I have him as a registrant for this one.
Okay. Yeah.
I was confused. I'm looking desperately trying to find him. I don't see him there.
Very good.
I'm adding one more person from the waiting room, and then we can go ahead and start. Okay, one more second. So what I'll have you do as we go through this morning's presentation, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and then we will pause at different points in time in the presentation for the questions. Also, as we're going through today's session, if you have ideas for more advanced topics, please, if you could put those also in the chat, and at the end of today's presentation, we'll discuss those a little bit for the more advanced training, which we hopefully will be scheduling sometime in early March. Great, I think that's everybody. Wonderful.
Okay. Are we ready to begin, Pam?
Yes, Darcy, go ahead. I just let the last person in. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Well, great to be here with you this morning. And again, my name is Darcy. And what this training is this morning is just the basics to allow teachers to immediately get started with Electude. So getting your students enrolled, getting content assigned, that's kind of what we're going to focus on this morning. Before we jump right in, I would be amiss if I didn't point you out to the support tools from our website. So just here briefly, anytime that you need support or you want to watch a video or attend a training webinar, go to electude.com, www.electude.com. And if you click the support tab from our website, there's a teacher and administrator support. So if you click on the teacher tab, here you have some fundamentals to get you started, some videos and things like that. If your site is connected through Canvas, we have an LTI management area here where you can view the guide, and this is your teacher manual for Canvas. So you can always grab this and follow these steps and walk yourself through getting started with a Canvas. And of course, this afternoon or later this morning, we'll have the Canvas training. And then also for the webinars, if we go back here a bit, if you click on the webinar tab, every week we have new webinar topics, and these go well beyond just the basic. And so every week, every Friday, we change the webinars, and you can see these are for next week's webinars are already posted. If there's ever a webinar that's not conducive with your schedule, sign up for these anyway, because even if you don't attend, the recording will be sent to you afterwards. And this semester, we're really focusing on, in addition to training on Electude, teacher sessions on how best practices and things like that about how to use Electude to its fullest. So check back here often, sign up for as many of these webinars as you wish, and the recording will always be sent to you. And of course, we're going to work with Pam and Larry to design some custom webinars for the California teachers, in March, like she mentioned. So without further delay here, let's jump right into the training. And is there any website administrators on the call this morning? I can briefly go into the administration side. I think we're all teachers, I believe. Is there anybody online that needs administrator training? Doesn't look like it. So we're going to skip that part. We're going to skip the administration. I'm just going to assume that every teacher has a login that's online. If you do not have a teacher login, then speak with your automotive coordinator, or there should be somebody at your school who either Claire or myself set up as the website administrator. And I know at Chabot, that would be Eric Bass Warner is the website administrator. So if you need a teacher login, please go speak to Eric.
Hey, Darcy, just before you start, just to clarify, if you are already integrated with Canvas, you don't need a teacher login.
That is true. If there's any Canvas users here, you will not need to seek a login. That will all be created through Canvas. So today's basic training is mainly for those schools who have not integrated.
Well,
so
and just to be clear, I'm so sorry, I keep interrupting.
Yeah, go please. This is why we're here.
I wanted to make sure, is there anyone in this call that is not integrated with Canvas? I guess that'd be a good way to start.
Yeah, Chabot's not integrated.
Okay, got it. And everyone else is. So I think, it's great for Darcy to go over a little bit on not the integration part, if you're not integrated, on how to set up the students, but for everyone else, that's for the basic training part of this. I think it'd be great. Just, we just want you guys to be familiarized where you're looking inside the website to assign the content, either on the website or inside Canvas. So I think it's just so important for you and all the instructors to know, where am I looking at? Where am I going to see which one do I want to give my students, whether inside my Canvas integration or on the website to assign to them. So that is what's going to be basic training for today. But he will start with, for those that are not integrated with Canvas, on actually how to do everything at the beginning.
That's right. Thanks for the clarification. And there will be certain bits and pieces that would apply to both, whether you're integrated with Canvas and whether you're not, as far as some of the navigation. So even if you are integrated, there'll be some things here that you'll probably be able to glean from this presentation. So from your school's website, and every school has looks like we have somebody to, okay. Every school has their own website. And so this is just my demonstration site that I'm going to this morning here, darcy.electude.com. Notice there's no www. So don't put a www in front of anything. If you do that, it'll take you to the Electude website. We don't want to have that happen. So you type in your school's address. It should take you to a login page. Here again, if you're a Canvas customer, you will not see this page. But we're going to log in directly as a teacher. If you should ever forget a username or a password, there should be a link right here that you can click in the system, and you can reset your own username or password. We're going to click, and it takes us right on in. And we're going to begin here with the top bar at the top and some of these tools that you see. First of all, the big question mark. This is your user manual. Sometimes I forget to draw this to people's attention, but no matter where you're at in the system, if you click that little question mark, it'll open up your user manual. And you'll see right now that I'm under the modules tab. So it does highlight that area and allows me to learn about what a module is. I can still scroll through the manual, but it's nice that it automatically indexes to that area. So for example, if I go to the student tab and click the question mark, it will index me to the student area. So I don't have to search through the whole manual to learn about where I'm at in the program. So let's start here what a module is. A module in Electude's term is a single item. If you look at the little icon next to it, it's a single Lego block versus over here, we got three that are stacked on top of each other. So modules are singular. Could be a lesson, a quiz, a task, could be a link, but they're individual items. And I'm sure every one of the automotive instructors online there probably has a filing cabinet sitting right next to their desk in their office. And when you go to modules and you click on default by subject, or you might have ASC content folders here, think of this area as like a filing cabinet. And this is Electude deconstructed. If you want to think of it as like a book and tearing out all the pages and then stuffing them into folders, that's kind of what this organization is under modules. Students don't get this area. This is a teacher view only. The reason we give you this is for twofold. One, you can open up these folders, and it's a nice way just to explore what content items are in Electude. You can also search for content items. For example, if I type in the word wheels, hit search, it's going to pull up by keyword search, anything that has wheels in the title there. And you can open up and start the module, and you can view that in front of your students. You could use this as a lecture tool. Whenever you're viewing a module from inside Electude, you have, as a teacher, you can skip through the questions. You don't have to necessarily answer them. You can go right to where you want to go. Once you're inside a lesson such as this, if you want to turn this into like a presentation, you can click this little icon in the upper right-hand corner. It looks like a screen, and that shoves off all the text. I have to go full screen first. I'm in Firefox browser. Go full screen and then click this, and you can see it pushes off all the text, and you've got a nice like presentation view. Hit escape to return back to normal viewing. But that's what this area is for. So you can research topics and things like that by folder. I'm using the default organization. You may have the ASC file folder. Just a little tidbit of information here. Going forward, Electude, as far as when new materials are being released, they're only going to organize those in these file folders using the default menu structure. So any new content, if you're using ASC, is still going to be on your site, but you're only going to find that stuff under all new. So I would recommend that every site probably change their menu structure to default going forward. Here again, this has no impact on your students or your or what content's available to you. It's just how things are organized. And because there's so many differences between light vehicle and heavy vehicle, and the ASC organization is different for each one, we've chosen just to maintain these folders under default.
Darcy?
Yep.
Can I ask a quick question? Have you guys pushed out to the admins that change is coming up, or it has happened?
It's been this way for a little while. It hasn't been. No, we haven't communicated that yet. It's something we just kind of found out about. That Electude going forward is just going to maintain these folders here. Okay. Here again, if you switch it to ASE, you're not going to be missing out on anything.
You just have to go to it. The reason I say that because I've got the Chabot one open, and we're under ASE content areas.
Yeah, you can.
So that might be something to push out to Eric and the other admins, just to explain the difference of, hey, if you're under ASE versus not being under ASE. And then Mike and I can also bring this conversation back to our guys too.
Right.
And then the next question would be the directions for them of how to change from ASE content to the default.
Yeah, I'll just run that through really fast here. If you go to the admin login and you go to settings, general, right here is, if you have it set to ASE, you would click here, change it to default, and hit OK and make that change. It's really simple. Here again, it's just going to be where modules are found in the folders. And that's really only going to be important to you if you're building self-made courses and things like that. But yeah, going forward, for sure, probably over the summer, we'll probably be switching a lot of sites. We didn't really make any announcements this spring because, courses are well on their way and things like that. People are using things, but we'll probably over the summer probably switch a lot of sites over back to the default, just so the newest content items show up in the appropriate folder versus all new. So that's the only thing.
Thanks, Darcy.
This is your filing cabinet. It's Electude deconstructed. We're not going to get into building self-made courses today, but if you do decide that you want to build your own courses, think of that as like building your own book. Then you're going to have to go somewhere to pull content from. And that's where this area really comes into play. When you create a course, you got to go somewhere to pull content from. And that's really what teachers use this area for. So that's the modules tab. If you're looking to get started immediately, like you want to assign content to your students this morning and you want to get started right away, it's best to assign a course. And a course is like a book. So if you look at the icon here, it's 3 Lego blocks that are stacked on top of each other. So modules are singular and they go into courses. And there is a self-made area here where you can decide, where you can build your own courses. Here again, we're not going to go into this morning, but you click the plus and you can build your own course. I'm going to suggest if you're just getting started, that you either use content from Automotive Essentials. Automotive Essentials is Electude's generic courses. So whether you're in the US, Canada, Mexico, Spain, wherever, every country gets Automotive Essentials. This is the core product for light vehicle. I've got some other products here, such as heavy vehicle. Your site may or may not have some of these other products, but everybody should have Automotive Essentials. And so here's last year's course, 1920. Here's this year's course. Every year they're going to publish, a new version if there's any significant updates. And so if I click to open this course, this is subdivided into 3 levels: basics, advanced, specialist. Now, it's important for me to describe the difference between these 3 courses. If I open these basic courses, every one of these courses listed here start at the beginning. So for example, Wheels and Tires Basic, it starts with tires, tire quiz, tire size and designation. Everything you need for a beginner learner, and it's going to go to a certain point and then stop. The further you go in a lesson, the more difficult it gets. So the basic courses start at the beginning, go to a certain point. After introduction, it stops. Now, if we go back using these breadcrumbs, I take a look here at advanced. We're going to use the same Wheels and Tires course as the example. Notice it has tires, tire size and designation, wheels. It has the same lessons. So if you choose an advanced course, it also starts at the very beginning, but it goes further. So you don't have to assign a basic course to your students before you give them an advanced course. If you see the same title of a course under basic and advanced and then specialist, that means there's 3 levels of that course. Every one of those starts at the very beginning, but they go further in how deep they go, how difficult they get. So for example, here with with Wheels and Tires, I don't think that there's an advanced version of this, but we'll check, or specialist. You can see there's no Wheels and Tires course here. Oh, there is a tire, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. So this here would be the full and complete. It goes from beginning all the way to the end. So this would be the full and complete training on Wheels and Tires. So here again, just to make sure that nobody's confused about that, if you see a course that's in all 3 of these levels, basic starts at the beginning, ends after introduction. Advanced starts at the beginning, ends at the intermediate level. Specialist also starts at the beginning and goes all the way to the end. I'm just going to pause there for a second to see, does anybody have any questions about what I just described there? Because it is a point of confusion with a lot of new users. Or any other questions?
I just want to comment. I'm just glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, because it can save you a lot of time, because a lot of times teachers think, oh man, I have to first give my students, all these basic lessons before I can get them to advanced or specialist. Now, if you want to give them the complete and full package and you have, only a limited time, then stick with one of these 2 courses. Now, oftentimes you might introduce a topic to students like their first year of training, and then their second year of training, you want to have them hit some of that content again. Then that's a perfect opportunity to use, 2 levels of this. Maybe their first year, for example, maybe you would give them electrical engineering advanced, and they go through this content. And then as part of their second year of training, you give them the specialist version. They would have to do certain material over again as a review, and then it would go further. And that's typically how they do things in Europe. And that's why these courses are designed that way, is students go through a certain bit of content, and then they go to something else. And then the next year they come back and they start at the beginning again for review, and then it goes further. So you can use these courses, in that way. Now, what Electude has done then for the US is they've taken this core content from Automotive Essentials and they've aligned it to ASE standards. So for the US, you also get these 2 organizations, AST and MAST for colleges and MLR for high schools. Although there are some colleges that also use MLR, I'm just going to use the AST and MAST. So these 2 courses, AST and MAST, these are rearrangements of Automotive Essentials. So same content, just mapped a little bit differently. So if I open up Master, think of this Master is almost like an encyclopedia set. So here's the whole thing. And then below here, we have, think of these as individual books. So we got safety tools, supplemental tasks, engine repair, automatic transmission, etc. These are your ASC content areas. So if I pick on brakes and we open that up, we have, think of these as now like chapters in a book. So here's my book title up here, Masked Brakes. And we have a pre and post test area, brake introduction theory that has 8 modules, about 2 hours worth of training. And then we have a folder for tasks. This would be your task sheets that would cover these 4 ASC identifiers. And this is really what sets the AST and MLR courses apart from Automotive Essentials. Automotive Essentials is just good old-fashioned theory content, lessons and quizzes. That's it. AST and MAST has these additional task sheets that are within them. So this one here, BR for brake, it's just the first one. Interpret brake concern, These cover these 4 ASC tasks. So when a student goes through this, they can fill out the vehicle information. They go through this, and it just basically gives, think of this as almost like an electronic work order where they can fill out items as they go along. So these are meant to be done in the shop. If you're doing remote learning and you're not face-to-face with your students, then you're probably not going to use these this semester so much. But all Electude courses have that are in AST or MAST or MLR have these tasks. You can see they're sprinkled throughout these courses. So you've either got a theory course or a task course, theory, task, task, theory, task, theory, task, etc. I'll pause here just again to see if there's any questions on the difference between Automotive Essentials, AST and MAST, and MLR. All right, no questions? Very good.
Just one. With this, if they were going to be using this in the lab, so I take it this will present just fine on any tablet or phone?
The tasks should work well on a phone. We have a lot of students that will take their phones out into the lab. They will resize, and depending on what type of device you're on, the task should open just fine on a cell phone or a tablet. In regard to some of the theory lessons, some of those have very involved or very sophisticated animations that they have to navigate through. And to be quite honest, using your big finger on your cell phone to interact with animations is very difficult, although it's possible. So for the theory content, I would recommend using either a larger tablet, a netbook, Chromebook, something like that for going through these. A cell phone might work for some of these, it's as a backup, but I would save, use a computer for your theory stuff, but the tasks, every one of those should be very easy to do on a phone. So,
And it does work. You said it works on a Chromebook?
Yep, Chromebooks work great. Netbooks, any cheap computer from Walmart will work just fine, as long as the student has access to the internet. It's
And iPads it works on?
Yep, iPads, all that works great.
Hey, Darcy, to build on Mike's a little bit. So let's say they're doing that tightening the lug nut task. If they're doing it electronically, what is the submission? Does it have to be printed and handed, or will it submit automatically within the system and post?
No, that's a great question. All the tasks are submitted electronically. So, for example, this screen looks a little different from the student view, but once you're on the inside, this is exactly what the students are going to see. They would go through this task, filling out information. When they get to the end here, they click Finish Task.
Okay.
Until they click this button, it auto saves. So like, let's say they get through half the document and then, the class ends, they can pick it right back up tomorrow, finish filling it out. And then once they get the information complete, they click Finish Task. And then from your perspective, the teacher, when you enter the group and you click on the group content area, you're going to see an area below all their names called To Be Graded. So all the tasks go to this area called To Be Graded. The theory lessons and the quizzes, those are self-graded, but it's impossible for Electude to grade handwritten things or a value. So these do have to be evaluated by you, the teacher. You can quickly skim through it, and then we also, it's tied to a rubric, a 1 through 4, which is pretty common, I think, of both against, most programs use some sort of rubric, a 1 through 4 rating, for example. And then once you put a performance rating on the task, it gets tracked on in a certificate area. So we track how many P1s, P2s, P3s. And if you're an ASC certified program, you know how you have to, do 90% of the P1s, I think 75% of the P2s and 50% of the P3s. We do all that tracking for you. And there's no papers to print or anything like that. Everything is documented. When you're up for your ASC recertification and your ETL is on campus and they want to review student tasks, just give them a login into Electude and they can go through, student files and review tasks if that's something that they want to see.
Hi, Darcy. This is James from EVC. How are you?
Great. What questions do you have there for me, James?
I put one on there and I typed it in on the chat area.
Oh, okay.
No problem. James, good morning. Thanks for joining us. James is wondering about the relationship between Electude and Canvas. Specifically, is there a seamless integration between the two?
Like we're talking about the test results or the what you were just speaking on, the results from the lessons taken, does that automatically go into the Canvas graded area?
They do. And so once you you're connected with Canvas and you activate the Electude tool within your course shell and you assign content using this Canvas deep link tool, when students perform lessons and quizzes, those grades will automatically go into Canvas.
Great.
And you'll want to make sure that you attend the training later on today, and they'll David McNulty, our Canvas expert, will be explaining how to do that. So.
Yeah, that's definitely something to reinforce because that's a discussion that's been kicking around our place. And the admin was saying, no, they don't transfer over. And I'm like, I thought they did. So
Yeah, no, they do. I mean,
Yeah, but you had to go through the integration first,
You do.
and that's the key. That was the question. What's the benefit of the integration? And it's really that it posts into the grade book. But I remember previously, some time ago, the updating on the integrated versus the online, there was a difference in how often or how frequently it integrated the updates that you guys do to Electude.
right. The Electude does nightly updates. And so the updates shouldn't interfere with your Canvas link. So once you're linked with Canvas, once the two LMSs shake hands and are connected, you still enjoy the nightly, the weekly updates, all that. None of that is affected. So really, it's really the best of both worlds, in my opinion. So if you're already really familiar with Canvas and you know how to assign content in Canvas and things like that, and you're a real whiz with it, then I think there's some advantages integrating, because you don't have to enroll students. That's a big thing. So Canvas takes care of your course enrollment, and B, you don't have to export your grades. So there are some advantages there.
Thank you.
All right.
Darcy, you said you don't have to enroll your students, excuse me, but we still need the vouchers, correct?
That's true. You still need vouchers. So so if you're a Canvas user, the first time that your students access a course and they click on Electude, if they don't have an active account yet, the system will pop up and say, how do you want to pay for this? And they click a button, I have a voucher, and they put that code in, and then their subscription begins from that point, for 6 months or a year, whatever voucher you have. So I believe on both Southern and Northern California, I think we both provided 6-month vouchers, but that's how that works. Okay, any questions about these courses before we jump to the student tab?
So just one more quick thing. I just want to make sure, absolutely, because I'm going to send Eric an email.
Yeah.
So if they do a quiz or a test, and if we're integrated in Canvas, they do a quiz or test in Electude, they get a score of whatever on test whatever. As long as you've got that in your grade book, it automatically posts into your grade book.
That is correct.
That's the email I'm sending him.
Yeah. And then you'll still enjoy all the analytic tools in the Electude LMS. So when you launch over into the Electude LMS, if you guys have been enjoying the red and green progress bars and the response analysis and all the great analytic data that you can get from the Electude LMS, that's still all intact and available to you even after the integration. In times past, in earlier versions of integration, you might have heard this term called SCORM. It's a very old standard. When you integrated through SCORM, you only got the content. You got none of the grading features in Electude, and so the student's experience was as good or as bad as the LMS you were using. With this new LTI integration, you get the best of both worlds. You get all the content. All the grades are moved over to Canvas, but yet you still retain all the analytic tools in the Electude side. So you kind of bounce back and forth between the two sites depending on what information you want to glean. But you still have all the great tools in Electude. All right. So modules, singular items, they go into courses. And courses is like your book. And then we have students. And in Electude's world, we call these groups. And for Canvas users, here's where there's a little bit of confusion in terminology, because in Canvas, a group they call that courses. So here's where there's a little bit of terminology difference between Canvas and Electude. In Canvas, a course is where you put your students. In Electude's world, you put your students in groups, and a course is the content. So this is where there might be a little confusion, when you're bouncing back and forth between the two things. You know, depending on where you're at, you might have to put your Electude hat on for certain things. And then when you're in Canvas, you flip your hat around and now you're, you know, you have to kind of associate these terms a little differently. That's why I think these icons are pretty helpful. So here under students, here you see, we call those groups. And if you're connected with Canvas, these groups will be set up for you automatically. Canvas creates these groups for you based on your course reference number. If you're not integrated with Canvas, you have to create the groups. And that's very easily done by simply clicking the plus button. And I'm going to create a group here. I'm just going to call this 1012 Auto Electrical 1. Whatever you call it, maybe it's spring, whatever, but I'm just made up a course number here, Auto Electrical 1. You can put some additional text to content here if you want, like a little welcome greeting to students or whatever. You can turn the scoring off or on here anytime. Typically, you want to leave the scoring on. There is an option where you can have students enroll themselves. If they're in the platform already, you can click this button and they can put themselves in the course. That's an option to you. And we click add, and that creates that group. Here again, if you're a Canvas user, you don't do this. Canvas does it for you, but you can create as many groups as you want. Simple as that. So here's my two groups, and I can click on a group. Notice when you click a group, it now shows highlighted up here in the top. So students, 1012 Auto Electrical 1. If I want to switch to another group, I'm going to use this menu over here to the left. Here again, if you're a Canvas user, you wouldn't even see this area here. You're only in Canvas, you only see the group that you're dealing with inside of Canvas. If you want to switch to another group, you'd go to another course show in Canvas. If you're only using Electude LMS, you just simply click on the other course and then it's up here at the top. Okay. Now, what are we going to do once we get our group created? We want to assign some content. So if we look up here at the top, here's group content. And you can assign a course, and which, remember, a course is like a bundle, it's like a book, or you can assign individual modules singularly. You can go over here and do both. You have options to do both. However, I strongly recommend that you stick with assigning courses. Just like a book, it's organized. It has chapters. It has things lined out in logical sequence. A module, however, if you assign those one at a time, they all get just lumped into a folder called other content. So it's a nice, gives you some flexibility if you wanted to throw something else to the students that are maybe not related to their content that they're currently learning about, something extra. But I think you're typically going to be assigning content as a course. Couple ways you can do that. And this kind of depends on the device that you're using as a teacher. I'm going to show you both ways here, okay? So we're going to talk about this plus button first. So if we go over here to courses and we select a course, let's say, well, it's engine performance, right? So let's go into engine performance, open that up. Now, if I wanted to assign the entire engine performance course, I mean, all this content, throw the whole book at them. I've got this course dialed up. You can see it's up here in the top menu bar. I can slide over here to the students button, click on the plus, and there that course is. So if I click add, I would assign the entire engine performance area. They've got everything now. The whole thing. If I click on this, you'll see it opens up. They've got the whole book. Now, if I don't, yeah.
Real quick. I think for those that are integrated to Canvas, this part, yes, you don't need to know how to add it on the website here, but it's really important to know what content he just picked, because if you wanted to assign the entire mass engine performance course in Canvas, there's going to be a button that says LTI deep linking. There's a button. But
good point, Clara.
Yes, I think that's where people get confused on, well, which one do I want to link in? So what Darcy just showed you, if you can go back, Darcy, to the course.
Yeah, sure.
Is, what he just did right here is he picked the entire thing. So whether you pick the entire thing to integrate into Canvas or whether you pick the entire thing to add to your website is very important to know. And right now, Darcy just did the entire thing.
That's right.
And usually there's a button that will say right under the heart and the little 2 sheets of paper that says, LTI tool or click, or I'm blanking on which one it is right now, but it's important you just really need to know where you're looking on what you want to assign, because there's so many different places of assigning everything or just parts of it or one at a time.
Yeah. So it's always good to always pay attention what's here in the menu bar. That's what you're dealing with. And then you can navigate forward or backwards using these breadcrumb trails. Now, let's go back here and let's say, you know what? I don't want to assign this whole thing. I just want to assign a piece. So I can click this little box. This is like a selection where you can delete. And I'm going to take that course away. And I'm just going to instead go back here and I'm going to assign a smaller piece. Maybe we're just going to do engine mechanical performance theory. So if I click on this course and here's the lessons that are inside it and go, yeah, this is what I want to assign. You can see it's up here at the top. I'm going to go over here, click the plus, and just assign that smaller piece. And they can begin working on that. This is the only thing that they're going to see are these items.
Hey, Darcy.
Yeah.
Question. Can you take like the top 3?
What you would do is you go back over here to courses. There's no selection button here or anything. So what you'd have to do is go back and you can either click on it like that, or it's highlighted and use your plus. That's one way to do it. Okay. The other way is using what I call a click and drag method. Okay, let me show you that. I'm going to take these things away here. Take away the contents. So now we got a clean slate. And if I go back over here to courses, using my breadcrumbs here, we're going to go back to MAST. What I can do is put my mouse over the content area that I want to assign. Here's my group, 1014 Engine Performance 1. Click, hold down on your mouse button. You just drag it up there. Notice you get kind of a red cross through thing here. It's just showing I can't drop it here. I can only drop it here. When the red cross through goes away, I release my mouse and I can simply, drag as many items as I want really quickly. This is a very efficient way to do it. And you can see how that I assigned just those items. And then if you say, well, you know what, I don't want to do a task today, you can take that away.
Or were you referring to just to clarify, were you asking about just the 3 modules inside the theory work that he opened up?
Oh.
No, I mean, he did. He answered the question. Like, for example, when all of the modules were there, I was thinking you could like highlight, put the cursor by it, and just drag down and select the ones you wanted, and they would automatically pop up. But it seems that as though Darcy explained that you have to do that one at a time.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Claire.
Darcy, if you can explain though the option of a copying in the course, because I think that is still a very basic thing that everyone needs to know, because sometimes a course might be too much for somebody.
Right. So let's go back over here to courses. And let's look at the engine mechanical performance there. I think, yeah, there's a good number of lessons here. So this here might be, let's say if we look at how many hours that is. So they think this is going to take about 2 hours and 30 minutes to complete, these 10 items. But let's say that you want to chop this in half. What you can do is click on it, and you can't take any items out of an Electude course, but what you can do is copy that course. And so up here at the top, you've got these 2 little icons. This would be to add the course to your favorites. So if you teach engine performance, and that's the only area you teach, I recommend putting all the engine performance courses in your favorites because that just makes it easier to assign using the plus button. You can just click the plus and boom, 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 add those courses really quickly. But this is your copy course icon. And if I click this, are you sure you want to make a copy of this course? If I click yes, notice what it did here. It shifted gears, and now we're under self-made. So basically, this is my course now, and I can take things out of here that I don't want. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to take this word copy off of here, and I'm just going to call this Darcy's Mass Engine Performance Theory because it's my course. And now what I can do is, let's say that I want to stop it after auto engine. I can take these items out and click the X. So there's my new course that has half the lessons out of it, okay? And maybe I could.
And the best way to describe this is, when people ask, why can't I take stuff out? Why does it have to be copied? Think of it like a textbook. You can't just rip pages out of a chapter that you don't want, but you can always photocopy a chapter and then decide what you want to staple into that chapter. So that's essentially what we're doing here, is just photocopying it and then deciding what you want. I have a lot of instructors that do this if they want to separate out the learning modules in one and then quizzes in another, because sometimes that's really helpful in Canvas if you guys don't want to, because if you are integrated with Canvas and you don't want to give a grade on a learning module, but just do, based on completion, they would put all the learning modules in one course, assign that and not have a grade value on it in grade book or point system. And then they'll just do one with all quizzes. That way they get one average score of quiz at the end. So you have different options of doing this. That's the greatest thing about Electude is whatever you want to do, you might want to think that you might want to do, there is possibly a way to do it. It's just, you might need some training on how to do it. But, a lot of my instructors do separate out a bunch of stuff in self-made courses because they want to have the option of different scoring or testing, or scores that get populated in.
And here's the nice thing too. Let's say that you started students out with the Electude version, and then you go, you know what? You made copies of that, and you can take these courses away. And if you then go to your copies and assign, here's part 1 and here's part 2, it's the same lessons. So if students did anything within this course prior, the results are going to repopulate. So that's really, they don't have to do the work over again. So here's basically what I did is we made a copy of the engine mechanical. We made 2 copies and we split it into 2 parts. So the same thing that you can do, very easily done. You can, I did it in just a matter of minutes there. So you can, divide Electude's content up however you wish, very easily. Now, the next step obviously is to get students in, and that's and there's a couple different ways to do this. I'm going to back out here just momentarily and go back into administration. Now here again, this is only for non-integrated accounts. If you're a Canvas user, none of this is going to apply to you. But if you're using only the Electude LMS, as the site administrator, you have a number of different options for creating user accounts. If you have it set to temporary password specified by the teacher administrator, we're just going to do it this way here first. I'll show you what that looks like from the trainer side now. If you have it set up this way, when you click the plus button, you provide the student with a username, first name, last name, email address, and then you type in an initial password. My computer's, putting in some extra, automatic stuff there. It should look just like this here. So you specify the information. You, the teacher, have to fill that information out. That's one way. Going back here, I'm going to switch it back to the way I had it. Under settings, general. The other way is, whoops, not that one, right here. Temporary password generated by email. So the system will send an email to the student with their password. And if I leave it set this way, full form data, then you, the teacher, still specify the username, their first name, their last name, and their email address. There's still some information there you have to fill out. There is a short form, if I change it to this, temporary password generated by email, short form with email addresses as the username. This is the very simplest way to set up students in the system. And by default, depending on, this might be how your site was set up, but that just kind of depends on the school, okay? So if your site's set up this way, as soon as you click on the student tab, only an email address box pops up. So if I wanted to enroll Clara on my site, notice that another box pops up and I could enroll somebody else.
Hey, Darcy, is there any way to do a batch processing on that to where it's, delimited like with a semicolon or upload a spreadsheet or something?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm showing you how to do it from the teacher side.
Yeah.
And from the teacher side, you're limited to doing
Just
it
single entry?
single entry. But
Did I miss?
you know,
Did I miss something? I thought you said the Canvas would do this seamlessly, the integration.
that's right. Canvas does this for you. So here again, in the training later on today, the second training, David McNulty, our Canvas expert, will talk about how students get enrolled through Canvas, but that's all done automatically. So here again, if you're a Canvas user, you don't do this, but there are some schools that haven't integrated with Canvas yet, and this is how a teacher has to enroll students. So
Understood.
now notice there's no first name or last name here yet because Clara hasn't logged in and registered, but she should have gotten an email from electude.com welcoming her to this website. She then types in her first name, her last name, updates the password, and then she's ready to go. So that's a very easy way to get students enrolled if you're a non-Canvas user. Now, once Clara is in the system, let's say that that she also needs to be in electrical. You don't have to go in here to electrical, click the plus and add Clara again. She's already in the system. So a couple ways you can deal with that is you can go to your group, click the pencil, and you can allow self-enrollment. And then Clara could choose to put herself also in electrical. It's discoverable. Or you could go to the all students area, find Clara. You can see she's right here. And I can also just manually drag her over here and put her in electrical 1. So a student only has to be entered into the program one time, and then they can be in as many different groups as necessary. You just have to go to the all students tab, find your student. Here's myself, and I can easily drag myself into either one of these groups. So once students are in the program, it's very easy then to get them logged in.
And you'll see, you guys, it says last access 29 seconds ago, because I just logged in.
Oh, great.
And signed up, so that now it changed from my email to my name. I will tell you that some of the biggest complaints that we get is they say the students can't get in. They're locked out. Everything's very, very case sensitive. So my email address that he set up before me was Clara was not capitalized, but my computer automatically capitalizes the C when I use my username. So it kept not working over and over and over again. So, however you put that email address to students, it's very important for them to know that their username, and if I'll share my screen real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see.
Don't know if I have to turn mine off, maybe. I'm not sure.
Let me
Okay.
show I can pick on which one I can.
Oh, I have to hit stop share, I think. There you go. Now you can do it.
This is the email. If y'all, can y'all see this? I don't know if it's.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I'm sure everybody else can too.
This is the email that they get, and it's from Electude LMS, and they have to make sure that their username is identical to this. And then there's the temporary passwords. I always just tell them to copy this. But when I logged in on my computer, when I try to click this button and do this, my computer automatically capitalizes the C. So I had to make sure I go in and make that a lowercase because it won't let you log in. So just, if you ever hear students say it doesn't work, always just ask them, well, are you looking at the username and password? Everything's very, very case sensitive. But once the student logs in, then they're ready to go. And I don't know if you guys have, let me show this screen. If you've ever seen.
Yeah, it'd be good to maybe show it from this, what the student view looks like.
So is it sharing?
We see your lovely wedding photo.
Oh, no. This happens to be on multiple screens. So this is what it looks like for them when they log in. So when any class that they're enrolled in, it just says content of 1014 under performance 1. And then here are the 2 courses, and they can start with the first one and then they can go to the second one. So if they're in multiple classes, when they click on the content tab, they'll have another one that says, a different content of 1020 breaks or something.
Yeah. You can use that, maybe click that enroll in a group player, click on that, we'll show how they can go into, oh, it says already enrolled in both, aren't you? Okay.
So I'll let you go back, Darcy.
All right, very good. Thank you, Clara.
You're welcome.
Okay, so here we're back to this here. And let's see here. Now let's talk real briefly. Let's get some content in this electrical course. So here we're going to go to courses, AST MAST. This time we're going to go into electrical electronics, and I'm just going to grab the electrical measurement theory and put that into electrical 1. And okay, so here we see there's some work done already. Okay. So when you enter a group, here's your group name. This is the group assigned content. And what we're looking at here at the top, this is the average results for the entire class. Now there's only 2 students in here. So this time spent is an average between these 2. And if I want to learn more about what's in here, I'm going to click into it. So you drill down into the content first. So as soon as you enter a group, resist the temptation to immediately click on a student's name. I'm going to show you why. If I click on a student's name, it goes to I call this their profile page. And it's a long list of everything that student has done since the beginning of time. Look at all this stuff. It's not just electrical. This is their profile page. So even though I'm in the electrical group, if I click on a student name first, it goes to this profile page. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I only want to see electrical stuff. Why am I seeing all this? So when you enter a group, your first click should always be up here. You click on the content item, and this opens this up. This top portion here, again, this is the average results for the entire class. Now, if I want to see all the results up above for this student, now I click on the student name, and I'm going to get just the results for electrical measurement theory for just that student. If I take a step back and I click on an item like ammeter, here is my individual results for just ammeter. And if I make one more click on here on the student, here is, I can see some detailed information about this student. Their last, the first access was 12/4 of 20. They did 3 sessions, and then here's their score so far. Because this is somewhat older results, I don't have the response data here for that one. Let's see if I can find some newer response data here. Yeah, here we go. So within 6 months, if they've answered certain questions, you'll get this response data. So here you can see how the student answered the question. This information goes away after 6 months, and then you just have this information up top indefinitely. If I want to reset the learner's progress and have them start again, I can either click this X and delete the results from here, or I can go back a step here. Here's voltmeter. If I tick the student's name and hit the X, it deletes their results and they can start over again. If you accidentally delete a student's results unnecessarily, you can click on their name. Here's archived attempts, and you can reinstate those deleted results if you wish. So it's difficult to lose something permanently so long as you keep that information or know where to find the information. I'm just going to pause here again and just open this up to questions. How much time do we have, Pam? I know we're just right over an hour.
A little over, so you can go on a little more if you like, but we're actually at the hour period +5.
Okay.
So if folks have to leave, thank you so much for joining us. We also will be offering the Canvas training later this morning at 11. And next week, it's currently at 2 o'clock, but a couple of teachers have gotten in touch and have conflicts in requesting that we move the Canvas training to 3 o'clock next Friday. So I'm going to check with everyone, make sure that that's fine with Electude to see if we can do that. But that's something that we're going to be talking about. So that may change for next week. Does anyone have any further questions?
Yeah, I pretty much covered everything you need to know to get started. So we'll just kind of open it up to questions here.
Great. Well, for those who are leaving us, thank you for joining us, but we can continue on for those who have final questions. Thank you.
And let's also mention that we have the basics being covered again next Friday morning.
That's correct. Will be a repeat performance of this. Absolutely.
Mary, thank you.
And I know and just so you guys are clear and understand, Darcy and I are here, and so is David McNulty. If you have Canvas questions, and then we have a full-time trainer, Tim. So between the four of us, we're here anytime. And you guys, California took a big deal with us, and we want to be here for you guys as much as possible. So if you even need to do one-on-one trainings individually, where we look at your screen and walk you through stuff, I think that is the best way to get the training that instructors are asking for. I know we can't do it for everyone, but for California, because of this plan that you guys do with us, we're here for you guys, because it's so hard just to watch us do this over and over and over again. A lot of my instructors and I have done one-on-ones where I watch their screen and teach them and take step by step, and they record their screen and do whatever they need to do so they have easy access. So whenever y'all need us, if you can't make these trainings, but you need it, just please don't be afraid to ask us for help instead of just, deterring away from using it.
Clara, thank you for that, because I was going to ask if we could have customized trainings for like an individual school, because I have 1 or 2 schools who are having a bit of a problem getting started. So I was going to ask if we could just focus on a particular school and have all the faculty from that school be in one training. So we'll toss that one around as well. And also for the other participants this morning, if there are certain topics that you'd like to dig into a little more deeply, or more advanced topics, I haven't seen any in the chat suggested as yet. Are there any topics in addition to the basics that we talked about this morning that you'd like us to think about for a future training subject? Well,
I think Valentine has his hand up there, Pam.
I'm sorry.
Hey. Hi, everybody. Hey, Darcy, I just have a question. We talked about week 4 before. I got week 4 ready to go. I just don't know how to publish it.
Right. So that's I know you're connected with Canvas. So if you've got you're talking, you have your self-made course.
Yes, week 4. We talked about it before.
You've got your week 4 ready to go. There should be right underneath here. Clara mentioned it before. My site isn't linked with Canvas.
I don't see it. I don't see that.
You don't see that.
Mine
Yeah.
is like yours. I don't see
Okay.
anything underneath.
Are you logging in direct? I know with Hartnell's site, you can either log in directly to Electude or you can access through Canvas. You need to make sure you're
I'm through Canvas.
okay.
I'm in
So,
Canvas.
all right. What we probably should do then, Valentine, is network with David McNulty, our Canvas expert. Do you have his email address?
Val,
Uh,
I can send it to you.
Yeah, because Valentine, what's probably going on is that you don't have the tool in your navigation bar inside Canvas, because you have to, go to the navigation tab and then click on Electude deep linking tool to be activated, and then it'll show up. So it may be just in the course that you're in Canvas right now, you don't have that tool set up.
Okay, so I'm in, I'm inside Electudes, and I, we created with Darcy, we created week 4 last week, and we were able to publish week 3, 1, 2, 3, but I don't see the tool that you mentioned to be able to publish week 4. I already published 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, but this week 4,
Valentine, what I'm going to do is send an email to David, and I'm going to include you in the CC. What are you available later this morning to maybe connect with David and troubleshoot?
Yes, if you let me know the time.
And Valentine, it might be good if you join the call at 11 today. That's the Canvas stuff. So maybe the tool's not activated, and he's going to take you step by step on how to activate the tool.
What time is that going to be?
Be 11 o'clock your time. There'll be another, be the part 2.
Okay,
of this
then we'll
training.
wait until 11 o'clock. We'll wait until 11 o'clock so we can connect together.
Okay, very good. I'm still going to put you in. I'm going to still put you in contact with David just so you have his information. And then anytime you have a Canvas question like that, feel free to reach out to David. I mean, he is your Canvas guy. So.
Okay, sounds great.
And Val, I just emailed to you David McNulty's email as well and introduced you.
Okay. How you doing, Pam? You stay safe?
I'm doing, yes, I am. Thank you so much. And you? Got your shots yet?
Stay home. Not yet. Next, it's probably going to be until next month before we get it done. It's so many people trying to get it, at one time. So we just have to, take time.
Yeah, that's true. And
but right now we doing everything from home.
Yes, that's true. But you guys have about 90 students activated, so that's pretty good.
Yes, we do. We've been increasing our enrollment. So it was a challenge at the beginning because the students, first of all, the instructor did not know how to use the tools. And then second, the students didn't know how to use the tools. So it was a combination of how do we use this new tool? But now we are getting comfortable. It's getting there. It's taking a lot of training, a lot of time, but I'm pretty sure that we are doing much better than we did before.
Yeah, and you've got what, 7? I see 7 teachers activated at Hartnell. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Excellent. Well, if you need any other support after you speak to David, just let me know, and we can set that up for Hartnell individually if you like, for the whole college. So we can try and do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I had a question on your progress bar. You have green and red.
Yes.
How do you determine progress?
So let's take a look here. Let's go into electrical engineering. Here's electrical measurement theory. And so here's my average results for my whole class up here at the top. Now, if I click on my student name, you can see that these bars that are empty, that means that the student hasn't even opened these items. There's no time spent. The bars are completely empty.
Right.
Voltmeter, I can see that this student, Darcy, has spent 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 39 seconds on voltmeter. If I put my mouse over the progress bar, they're 58% correct, and the bar is totally filled. So they've got a 58% right now in the lesson.
So you're basing it all off of quizzes.
This is the lesson, and here's the quiz. Now, if you want to filter this out, and
Then
just,
how are you, okay, then
if
can
you
I
want to just
ask how
see the
you,
quizzes, I can set up a filter. You can go over
Right.
here to settings and module filter, and I can just filter out quizzes. If I set this up for just quizzes, and also I'm going to go over here to account, and I'm going to change one more setting, import export. Export entry results, we're going to change that to yes. We want to see because I have a lot of quizzes I haven't started yet. So I want to export entry results, save that setting, go back here to students. Okay, now here I'm seeing everything. If I flip my filter on now, here's just the quizzes.
can I ask? I can understand how you would grade a quiz as far as correct answers, non-correct answers. What are you basing the criteria on the module then?
That's a great question. So when you're looking at the module scores, so this module, they got a 58%. Now, I typically, I do not grade the lessons. Think of it this way. Think about a young person that's learning to ride a bicycle. When they first get on that bike for the first time, they're going to fall over a lot, aren't they? But we want to encourage them to keep getting back up, getting on that bike, and keep pedaling, keep working until you master riding a bicycle. And then you probably have some type of an obstacle course or something to prove that the student can effectively ride a bicycle. So for the lessons, although they get a score, we recommend that this score is a gauge as to how they're learning. Now,
Okay, stop there,
yep.
please. What's your criteria for that grade? How do you determine that grade? 58%.
It's how many times they answer a question right or wrong.
So you base it all off of questions and quizzes.
Right, exactly. So if we open up this lesson, voltmeter, let's take a look at it. And the first question here, and this is what's really unique and different about Electude versus a regular book. A book would have all the text that would spell out, explain everything extremely well, and the student can find all the answers in the text. That doesn't work with Electude. Electude is discovery-based learning. So this text is important, but there's missing things here on purpose. We want the learner to discover certain things. So here, for example, it says, click on these components. The DC AC voltage selector switch. Nowhere up here in the text do we explain that to the students. So they're looking here and going, I don't know, maybe it's this thing. Nope, that's not right. That's the rotary switch. Okay, so well, if that's the rotary switch, where else do I see a switch? Oh, maybe it's this thing. Ah, okay, that's the AC/DC selector switch. So now the rotary switch, oh, I remember that. That was this piece. So in my opinion, it's not fair to grade a student when this is how they're learning.
Okay, how would you grade that?
I would give it.
You answered one wrong. So does that go towards the wrong pile?
Yep, that'll make it red. That'll make that bar a little bit red. But they'll now can go on to the next ones. Well, once they finish, finding all these parts and pieces, once they go on to the next, and if they get this question right on the first click, select the multimeter so we can measure battery voltage. So once they get this hit, they hit check. Oh, I've messed up there. So that's another red. Okay. But when they restart the lesson, and if they go back and practice, they can turn that bar more green if they answer certain questions again and answer them correctly. The whole idea is to get students to practice and improve their score in the lesson. And then whether that's a 60, 70, 80, every student learns a little bit differently. But when they feel that, you know what, I've gone through this lesson, I feel like I've mastered this content, they exit out and they take the short little summative quiz. And if they take the quiz and they pass it, then the lesson did its work. Okay, so they can take these quizzes, and that provides you, the teacher, with a gradable item. So some teachers, use if they complete a lesson, they give them a participation score of some sort, or they count it as 100%. In Canvas, you can turn the scoring off for certain items, but I recommend only taking a grade on the quizzes. So lessons are for practice and learning, quizzes are for a grade.
Okay, so how would I tell in the 58% one, when the bar is completely full, does that mean they've at least gone all the way through it?
Yes, correct. So if I go back here to the student results, this one here, you can see the ammeter lesson.
Right, they haven't gone all the way through it.
They haven't gone, they're 69% through it, and 63% of the time they're clicking on the right answer the first click.
Okay.
So
And
so
are
it's-
all your questions based in the lesson discovery type?
most of them are. So if we go back here, so this first one here is definitely a discovery-based question. Set the meter to measure direct current, because nowhere up here do we explain that. Here again, click on the meter, best to measure current through the lamp. So you might have talked about this in class or had it in a lecture, and they might know right off the bat that an ammeter is connected in series, and they can click on the right one. A lot of your students are going to click this one, but we always give them a guided feedback statement. So even though they made an incorrect choice, this multimeter is connected across the lamp in parallel to the load. This setup is used to measure voltage drop through the lamp. So they're going to get these guided feedback statements. And it's important to tell your students, don't worry about making mistakes in the program. At Electude, we believe that learning should be just a little bit painful, and it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from it. So it's not about just answering questions and finding the answer in the text. They have to kind of, discover a little bit. And now eventually there are going to be some questions here. This lesson here is highly discovery based. There are other lessons where indeed some of the answers will be found in the text, but you got questions like this where they got to click to find certain things. You've got questions like this where it's a multiple choice, where they do something here with the animation, and they answer a multiple choice type question. And there's other questions that are fill in the blank, and these are typically weighted very high. So if they, we're already on page 2 of the lesson, question 3, they should have some basic understanding of how this meter works by now. So the further they get, the more these questions are going to be worth. So so I always recommend to students, start on page 1, go through these questions, exit, see where your score is. If it's below 50%, go back, restart the lesson, keep working on those questions till you feel you've mastered it before you go on to page 2. So I always kind of tell students, think of these pages like a level in a video game. Do level 1, understand this very well before you advance to level 2. And some lessons might have 3 or 4 pages on. So does that answer your
Until they
question?
answer all the questions, they won't be done, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. I'm logged in as a teacher, so I can kind of skip around and go wherever I want. Students, they have to go through things sequentially. They have to answer both these questions before they can advance to page 2. And they can't just jump to question 6. They've got to start here on question 1. They got to get this right before they can advance to question 2, 3, etc.
Yeah.
Darcy,
Good.
there's one other question. Steve has a question. Does Electude have any courses for auto body and collision?
Not on like body repair, but we do have some auto body programs that are using our content, like for electrical, for the brakes, suspension, some of the air conditioning lessons. So if you wanted to familiarize your students with some of the mechanical aspects of the automobile, we have those lessons, but currently we do not have any content like on, body repair or painting.
So that would be the basics program that has those elements that might be appropriate.
Yeah, if I was an auto body person that wanted to use the Electude's content, I would go into automotive essentials, go into the light vehicle content. Probably the basic will give your students what they need. So wheels and tires, electrical engineering basics, some of the tools lessons, and then maybe wheel alignment, steering, suspension basics. So you could definitely use some of these lessons to familiarize your students with the mechanical aspects of the automobile.
Steve, did you have any other questions?
No, that was it. No, it does alignment as well, right?
Yes, we got some really good wheel alignment lessons. Definitely check those out. Here's wheel settings basics, for example, camber, so all these angles on the car are very abstract, but with the animations you can make these points really easily understood because we exaggerate the movements here a little bit. So
Great.
obviously a car wouldn't have that much positive camber, but with an animation you can make that point really clear. So
Steve, if you're interested, I can have some of the subscriptions allocated to you if you want to try it out with your class.
Yeah, if I could take a look at it first,
Okay.
definitely.
Fine, go ahead, but let me know because we have some that I can reallocate to you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Pam.
Sure, great.
yeah, just speak with we just need to get him logged in. You have a teacher account already, Stephen?
No, I don't. I just
What school are you at?
City College.
Oh, okay. So let's see
So Nick,
I have to look up who the site
Nick
administrator is.
might have one, all right. I just, I haven't been using it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could use it even in front of the class, even if you didn't want to use it with students. These are some fantastic animations that you can use.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, just talk to your site administrator about getting an account and
Cool.
Thanks.
Great, sure. Wonderful. Darcy, I don't think there are any further questions and it's almost 9:30. So thank you
okay.
so much.
Well, thank you, Pam.
So much extra time with us this morning. Any final questions or
Absolutely.
thoughts from anyone? And thank you, everybody. So Darcy, if you could just stay on for a moment, I did have a
Sure.
couple questions for you directly.
Absolutely.
Steve, Paul, thank you so much. We will see you at 11 o'clock for the Canvas training, hopefully, maybe.
Bye, Pam. Thanks.
Bye, Steve. Sure thing. Bye. And let's see, Paul. Let me see. I think Paul may have gone away, but oops, there we go. So Darcy, I wanted to just thank you again for spending the extra time. That was really, really nice. They really appreciate
Oh, my pleasure. I tried to block out. I knew we'd go over, and so I just blocked out 2 hours. So
yeah, so thank you so much. There is an issue, well, two issues. One, I actually recorded this, so I'm going to stop it.